Good afternoon, everyone. This is Shannon Scott, the Bard of Bonaventure, coming to you from inside of heaven itself. I mean, can you imagine a place more similar? All this dangling moss and light and shadow, the statue of the angel. Boy, it's just transporting. And it's an absolutely quiet May day out here. You think the place would be as normal, just overrun with the tourist scene, but it's actually rather quiet here on the Wilmington River, other than the occasional boat, maybe plane, but just a beautiful, serene day out here. And we see an angel here that is pointing to the sky wearing a star crown and also holding an anchor. And this is actually a part of the J.P. Morgan family plot. Some of his family buried here in Bonaventure, and with the nearby Jekyll Island Club off the coast of Georgia, where he was, I think, a founding member, but a major bigwig out there. But yeah, some of the robber barons family buried here in Bonaventure, and they had the kind of money to buy this very stunning pedestal monument with all kinds of acanthus leaves and other great carvings. But I want to talk about some of the symbolism of not only the angel itself, but the pointing to the sky, the star crown, and particularly the anchor. But angels, of course, were messengers of God. They were go-betweens. They were protectors of humankind and mankind, and also some of them a little devilish. And as you know, there's a lot of sort of lore and scriptural argument that they may have actually mated with women and populated some of the human race itself. That's an interesting thought, to think that some of the people maybe that we meet now and again that we consider angels in our lives actually maybe have some of that DNA, or who knows, maybe you've got some of it, right? But in general, this is a big statement of the angel coming down to the grave and making a statement about the people who belong to it actually have an award or reward awaiting them in heaven, and hence the pointing to heaven itself, and also the star crown, which, see if I can zoom in on that. The star crown is very much symbolic of the stars that led the Magi to the birth of Christ. It's also a North Star idea. Lots of ways to interpret the star. Some even say that it's like the stamp of approval about the life of Jesus and the life of his mother and father as well, in the earthly sense. There's all kinds of interpretation of the star on the crown, but in general, thought of as the statement of the reward awaiting them in the stars or in heaven above. Now, the cross, which does have that obvious maritime connection, and here in a coastal city like Savannah, it can actually point to the nature of the profession. I don't know, honestly, if the people who are buried here had any connection to the maritime trade, but with, the Morgan name, let's face it, there was a tie-in. But specifically, I don't know. But angels were part of the art of the early, the crosses in the form of the anchor was a part of the early art of Christians in the early Christian enclaves disguising what they were up to as Christians. So sometimes you would have found an anchor painted somewhere to show that it was the site of a future secret meeting of the Christians. Sometimes it would point the direction to where the secret meetings were being held by the Christians, so you could kind of follow the trail of the anchor, the painted anchors, to find your way to that meeting. How covert and cool is that? And then they were also, in that sense, stylized crosses. So a lot of meaning inside of the anchors, but largely in a cemetery of the Victorian like Bonaventure, they're really dedicated as a statement of the cessation or the dissemination of the spirit from the body, but also how the life of the person was anchored in faith, or their faith was anchored to the life and times of Jesus Christ himself. So yeah, there's a lot of meaning inside of these artistic flourishes, and much more than meets the eye. And yeah, this was a part of the language and the vernacular of Victorians way back when, but kind of a lost art today as far as our modern day understanding. And I always like to quote the great writer Manley. He basically said that a great veil would fall from the eyes of humanity, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but if they understood the meanings behind symbols, a great veil of ignorance would fall from the eyes of humanity. So yeah, I mean, symbols are the hidden language of cemeteries, many things in the world, and that's a part of the art of what we do out here in Bonaventure. So remember, everyone can give you a tour of Bonaventure, but can they really take you on a story journey? And that's what we do here at Bonaventure Cemetery Journeys. So if you're out here looking for us at bonaventurecemetery.com, or yes, my website, shannonscott.com, remember, it's Bonaventure Journeys, not tours, but journeys. So check us out. We're out here every day. And of course, I'm out here sometimes in the evenings, but we do private tours, educational tours, group tours, you name it, we do it. We offer the most events in one cemetery of any company in town, along with other cemeteries in the area. So it's been a pleasure storing you, and come out and visit us here in Bonaventure soon. You'll be glad that you did, because it's the closest place to heaven.